Hi everyone. So today we're going to be learning about the size, shape and arrangement of bacterial cells. Shape of bacterial cells. Okay. So most bacteria range from zero point 0.2 micrometer to 2.0 micrometer in diameter and from 2 to 8 micrometer in length. There may be many shapes available for bacteria. They may be spherical shaped. So one of the shape is the coccus, basically the spherical shaped. It also means berries, basically circle you can say. Okay. So the second shape possible is the bacilli. This is the shape bacilli, okay, not the genus name. So this basically means rod shaped. It basically looks like this, you can say. Okay, let me do it one more time, a bit more neat. This. So the third one, and basically the last one, is the shape of a bacteria, which is the spiral shape. The spirillum bacteria, they are spiral shaped, and so these basically look like, they can look like this, which is this one is spiral shaped. Okay, I'm gonna be discussing the different shapes and the like their categories which we can give them, and also the number of divisions that are possible for each of the shape. So let me start over with the cocci and its possible arrangements. Just give me a moment so I can basically erase it for you. Fill this one. Okay. So basically, the first shape for cocci, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but I call it cocci. So the first division possible, which is the division, let me put it here that we are discussing the cocci. Okay, so arrangements for cocci are many, as it can divide that as the division is possible in many planes. So the first one is the division in one plane, which we call the diplococci. It looks like this. This is the diplo, as di means two. And as you can see that the plane of division is basically from one plane. Okay, so this goes for every, if you're not like aware of that. Okay, so the second shape, second arrangement possible, which is in the same one plane. This is the first one for this, and the second one possible is the streptococci. As you can recall, many bacteria with the names of streptococcus. Okay, streptococci is the plural form. So it basically looks like a chain of such cells. Not cells, I mean the shape. And this is the streptococci. Okay, so the second arrangement is possible in two planes, division in two planes, and one of them is the tetrad. Tetrad, which is basically an um, the divided into two planes, and it remains in groups of four, and they are called the tetrads. Tetrads, as tetra means four. The second shape arrangement possible is the of three planes. I'm sorry, three planes division into three planes, which one of them is the Sarkina, and it is the like only one which occurs in a groups of eight. Basically, I have to show the eight one. So these are two more. We can see them. Yeah, these are Sarkinae. Okay, so these are three arrangements possible, but there is one more arrangement possible in case of Kokai because it that form allows the division in many planes and they basically occur in the form of clusters and we call them the famous Staphylococci. Staphylococci. They occur in the form of grape-like clusters or broadsheets. So they can look like like they are scattered all over. There's no basic like there can be many. This is basically Staphylococci. And many bacteria occur in this form of arrangement. So these were the arrangements possible for the okay, and the next one we're going to discuss is about the shapes possible for arrangements possible for the let me use a different color bacillus. Okay, so bacillus cannot divide in many planes, so basically it doesn't have many arrangements possible as cocci. So one of them is we're discussing about bacillus. Okay, so one of the shapes possible is the single bacillus, the most common one, single bacilli. Okay, and the second shape possible is the diplobacilli, as you can see. So this basically has two of these rod shaped. This is the diplobacilli. The third arrangement possible for bacillus is streptobacilli, which is also in the form of a single chain as like streptococcus. It basically is like this. Okay, this is the streptobacilli. The names of bacteria can be like a form of characteristic of their shapes, and uh, they can state their function, their shape, their nature, or the person basically who discovers the bacteria. They can be named after them as well. These were the shapes for bacillus, but there is one more shape which basically is also a form of the cocci. It basically integrates the both into one, which we call the cocobacillus, as they look like uh, a circular form, like they are in a circular form as well, but they're also rod shaped. So they basically look like, I hope I get them right, basically like that, we can say, or like a bit of rod shaped as well, but a circle formed as well. Okay, these are the cocobacillus. So these were all the shapes for the arrangements possible for the bacillus shaped bacteria. And the last one we're gonna discuss is about the spiral shaped bacteria. Many bacteria also have star shape and also rectangular bacteria. So I'll discuss about them in a bit, but first let me like cover the let me use a different color. Okay, spiral shaped bacteria. There are three arrangements possible for it. So basically, the first one we can call the Vibrio one, as Vibrio color is bacteria, and it is basically the same shape as this one, basically named after its arrangement. Vibrio. Okay, so it basically looks like this. It's like spiral in some way, but it's also not that much elongated as its other forms. So the next one is spirillum. Okay, as I had mentioned, they basically look rigid, but they are more spiral than the vibrio one. So they are rigid and they are like this. They are rigid bodies, fairly rigid bodies, and like a corkscrew. And they are also of helical shape. Okay, the vibrio are only curved, but they are helical. So if you want to know the difference, this one is curved, this one is helical. And the last type is also helical, but it's not as rigid as spirillum, and they are more flexible than spirillum. We call them the spirochete. Not we, I mean the scientists call them spirochete. I don't know if I'm pronouncing them well. They look like basically a snake, but a thin one, and they are very, very flexible. I don't know if they have these many twists, but they do have many twists, and they are like this. And they are the difference between the spirochete and spirillum is that the spirillum is rigid, but this spirochete is flexible. It is flexible and helical. There is one another difference in between these, but we will discuss them in that topic in another video. But I can tell you that another difference is that spirillum is surrounded by axial I'm sorry, spirochete are surrounded by axial filaments, but spirillum have flagella to move. So spirillum use flagella for movement, but spirochetes use axial filaments to move. And one of the cause of the bacteria to cause disease is that they are surrounded by these uh, components and molecule and they have many structures which aid them in causing infections in human body, and these type of bacteria can move easily in the bodily fluids, as you can see in this shape, like it can literally swim in the bodily fluids, which causes them to cause disease. And in this way, axial filaments are also essential for their infection causing capability. So now I'll be discussing about the rectangular shaped and the star shaped bacteria I had just mentioned, and then we're all good. Okay, so now I'll be discussing about the star shaped and the rectangular shaped bacteria. The star shaped ones basically look like this. Basically, I don't know if I'm right, but they look like this. We also call them the stella. The rectangular shaped ones can be mentioned as Haloarcula. These are one of their forms, names. Some known viruses with this shape. So I'm supposing you all are aware about the Bacillus anthracis, which causes anthrax. So these have this rod-shaped bacteria shape in their bacteria, and some other are Streptococcus pneumoniae, which causes pneumonia. And some other are Staphylococcus aureus, which basically form infections of the skin, rashes on the skin, you can say. So these are some of the bacteria uh, with their names going about their shapes and arrangements.